A con man is a specialist criminal, and an art forger is a specialist con man. Instead of using charm and psychological tricks, he uses brushes and palettes. Almost all art forgers are men. The forging of art takes two main forms. The first is that a painter of high technical ability makes a perfect copy of a well-known work of art and sells it to an unsuspecting customer. Even the original artist's signature will be forged, and different techniques are used to make the recent forgery look much older. These exact copies of a known work of art are sometimes used in a fraud known as the bait and switch, in which a genuine work of art is offered for sale. The expert examines it and finds it to be absolutely authentic, but at the very last moment, as the painting and the money are changing hands, the sellers switch the genuine work for the exact copy. Now the criminals can make another copy and play the same trick again in another city. The other common form of forgery is a painting or sculpture in the style of a famous artist and seeming to date from his time. The trick is to have the experts think that this is a lost or previously unknown work by that artist. These types of forgeries are usually left unsigned, because this means a lesser criminal charge if it becomes a police matter, and also the absence of a signature may help to explain to the experts why the work has remained undiscovered all these years. Normally forgers work alone, with perhaps just a con-man business partner to handle sales, but in recent years in England, the home of a modest, even poor family, became a workshop for forged art and antiquities, which fooled all the experts. The whole family took part, performing different roles, but it was the younger son, Shaun Greenhalgh, who was the artist and master copyist. Born in 1961, near Bolton, Shaun was quite a talented artist, who despite his poor family background went to art college. But recognition never came, and it may have been his resentment of this rejection by the critics that led him to start his expert forging business around 1989. He did much of his work in the garden shed, so he and his family got the nickname the Garden Shed Gang. While Shaun quickly turned out watercolours by English artist Thomas Moran and antiquities from ancient Egypt, his family took care of the business side. His mother made all the phone calls, and his father would often be the one to meet the clients, or perhaps victims, in person. George Jr., Shaun's brother, handled the money, but the family involvement didn't stop there. Uncles and grandparents provided cover stories to go with paintings and other works. One relative of Shaun's might claim to have picked up an undiscovered painting or antique at an auction in 1962 and kept it ever since. Another might say he had received an antiquity as a personal gift from a rich local businessman years ago. The businessman would already be dead. This establishing of credible stories for the forgeries was a key element in the operation and was largely handled by Shaun's parents, George Sr. and Olive. For more than 10 years they continued undiscovered, until, in 2005, they went a little too far. Shaun had produced an ancient Egyptian statuette, about 20 centimeters high, and his parents had produced a series of forged letters and documents designed to show that it had been in the family for years. All went smoothly, and the piece was bought by a Bolton museum for the tidy sum of £440,000. Now bolder and more ambitious, Shaun went on to forge a much larger and more complex antiquity, or 3 to be exact. These were 3 Assyrian reliefs, large and detailed, and it was the detail that was Shaun's undoing. At first, the reliefs got past the experts at the British Museum, who even expressed an interest in buying one of them. However, at a large private auction house, the expert quickly detected some serious problems with the reported Assyrian reliefs. The reins on the horses were wrong for the period, and the ancient inscriptions in cuneiform had a couple of somewhat unlikely spelling mistakes. The police were alerted and began to investigate the Greenhalghs. 18 months later, the family was arrested and charged with various crimes. Shaun received a prison sentence of just under 5 years for his activities. Other family members received shorter sentences, according to their involvement in the crimes. Shaun was released in 2010. He now sells forgeries that everyone knows are forged, and a few of his own original works, which now ironically are popular and expensive. The family was still living in poor conditions in rented housing when they were arrested. Money really doesn't seem to have been the Greenhalghs' main motivation. Rather, they resented the art world and the critics, who had failed to recognize Shaun's artistic genius. Much of what he and the rest of the family did was to make the experts look and feel stupid. Annoyed by admiration for Shaun's talent as a forger among artists and the wider public, the police decided to spread the idea that the works were amateurish. This only served to deepen the embarrassment of the experts, who had declared them genuine.